Faith and evidence occupy opposing poles in the philosophical and epistemological discourse. While faith is often lauded as a virtue within religious circles, it is also frequently critiqued by philosophers, scientists, and atheists for lacking empirical support. The maxim "faith is not proof" underscores a significant rift between religious belief and rational inquiry. Religion, at its core, is based on belief, not evidence. This essay explores the philosophical foundations of this divide, analyzing arguments against religion's epistemological claims and examining the counter-arguments from religious apologists. Drawing upon thinkers like Osho, Rajneesh, Yuval Noah Harari, and various atheist philosophers, we delve into why many religious beliefs are considered illogical, biased, and fictional. Faith is commonly defined as belief without evidence or in spite of contradictory evidence. In religious contexts, faith is often viewed as a form of spiritual insight or trust in divine authority. Hebrews 11:1 defines faith as the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. This definition directly conflicts with the empirical standards upheld in science and rational philosophy. Philosopher Bertrand Russell famously criticized faith-based beliefs, arguing that belief should be proportional to the available evidence. Similarly, Carl Sagan noted, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, highlighting the discrepancy between religious claims and their lack of empirical substantiation. Osho Rajneesh, a spiritual teacher known for his critique of organized religion, remarked, "Belief is a barrier to truth. It is not that believers find truth. Rather, belief prevents them from ever discovering it." For Osho, belief was a way to avoid the existential uncertainty and openness required for genuine spiritual inquiry. Yuval Noah Harari, in his best-selling book Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, proposes that religion is one of many shared fictions, stories that humans collectively believe in to enable cooperation. According to Harari, the power of religion lies not in its truth but in its social utility. He writes, "You could never convince a monkey to give you a banana by promising him limitless bananas after death and monkey heaven. But humans will do it. Why? Because we can believe in shared myths." This perspective suggests that religious beliefs are not grounded in empirical truth but serve evolutionary and socio-political functions. From the Christian resurrection to the Islamic night journey, religious narratives are rich in supernatural elements that defy logical and empirical scrutiny, logical fallacies, and religious argumentation. Many critiques of religion focus on the logical fallacies embedded in its doctrines and apologetics. Some common fallacies include: appeal to ignorance, believing something is true because it has not been proven false. For example, we can't prove God doesn't exist, so he must exist. God of the gaps, using divine intervention to explain phenomena not yet understood by science. Circular reasoning, using the Bible to prove the Bible is true. For example, the Bible is the Word of God because it says so. Special pleading, exempting God from the rules of logic or causality. For example, everything needs a cause except God. These fallacies undermine the rational credibility of religious arguments. Atheists such as Richard Dawkins, The God Delusion, and Sam Harris, The End of Faith, argue that such reasoning would not be acceptable in any other domain of knowledge. Historical examples of religious illogicality. Geocentrism and Galileo. The Catholic Church opposed Galileo's heliocentric theory despite clear astronomical evidence. Faith in biblical cosmology trumped empirical observation. Creationism versus evolution. Many religious groups reject evolution in favor of a literal interpretation of Genesis, even in the face of overwhelming scientific evidence. Miracles, events such as turning water into wine or resurrection, defy natural laws and are accepted solely on the basis of faith. These examples illustrate the tension between empirical knowledge and religious belief. Each case demonstrates how religious institutions have historically resisted evidence-based revisions of their doctrines. Defense from religious perspectives. Despite these critiques, religious thinkers have mounted several defenses. Faith as a different epistemology. Some argue that faith is a separate form of knowing, not subject to empirical criteria. Søren Kierkegaard spoke of the leap of faith as necessary for genuine religious experience. Revelation, the idea that divine truth is revealed rather than discovered. This is common in Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. Pragmatic defense. Religious beliefs provide psychological comfort, moral guidance, and community, which are seen as valuable even if the beliefs aren't empirically verifiable. Science has limits. Some theists argue that science cannot address questions of meaning, purpose, or morality, thus necessitating faith. For example, William Lane Craig defends the resurrection of Jesus as a historically plausible event based on eyewitness testimony and the rapid spread of Christianity. However, critics argue that anecdotal evidence and mass belief do not constitute proof. Psychological and sociological factors. Religious belief is also shaped by cognitive biases. Confirmation bias, interpreting information in a way that confirms one's preconceptions. Agent detection, the tendency to attribute agency to random events, which may have led to early belief in gods. Social conditioning, most religious people adopt the religion of their parents or culture. Michael Shermer, in The Believing Brain, explores how humans form beliefs first and then rationalize them. This has profound implications for understanding religious adherence. Atheist rebuttals to religious apologetics. Atheists argue that subjective experience and revelation are not reliable pathways to truth. If revelation were a valid method, why are there so many contradictory revelations across religions? The diversity of religious beliefs across cultures and time periods also suggests that they are human constructs. If a deity were revealing truth, it's improbable that such revelations would be so inconsistent. Additionally, atheists point to the moral failures of religious institutions such as the Crusades, Inquisitions, or modern-day abuse scandals as evidence that divine guidance is either absent or ineffective. The fallacy of moral superiority. Religious belief is often equated with moral behavior, but this is a fallacy. Secular countries like Sweden, Norway, and Japan often have lower crime rates and higher standards of living than highly religious nations. This undermines the claim that religion is necessary for morality. Faith and fiction, a literary analogy. Many religious texts share narrative structures with mythology and fiction. The hero's journey, miraculous births, divine interventions, and apocalyptic visions are all literary motifs. Joseph Campbell's The Hero with a Thousand Faces outlines how mythological themes repeat across cultures, including religious scriptures. This suggests that these stories fulfill psychological and cultural needs rather than serve as historical accounts. Conclusion: toward a rational spirituality. While religion continues to play a significant role in human life, the philosophical divide between faith and evidence remains a central issue. Faith, by definition, does not require proof, yet this very feature is what renders it suspect in rational discourse. As Harari suggests, the future may lie not in abandoning spiritual inquiry but in disentangling it from literalist belief. Osho's call for a truth-seeking attitude rather than blind belief remains a pertinent challenge to both religious dogma and secular cynicism. Ultimately, the question is not whether religion can be disproven, it often cannot, due to its unfalsifiable nature, but whether it should be believed without evidence. In an age that increasingly values critical thinking and empirical understanding, this is a question each individual must confront with honesty and intellectual courage.